I, Sweetie, written by Christomus. Sweetie Belle, can you come in here for a minute? I trotted into the laboratory when I heard Twilight Sparkle call my name. The room was vast, filled with hanging wires, monitors, and all sorts of scientific apparatuses. I'd only seen Twilight Sparkle's basement once, and that was when she was able to deal with a measly librarian's salary. Now she had a royal stipend to work with, and an entire wing of Canterlot Castle. Most of the citizenry of Canterlot, and indeed Equestria, were used to seeing their princesses in their royal accoutrements. I was one of the few privileged to know exactly how much she disliked the pomp, and preferred a nice white lab coat, much like the one she's wearing right now. Technically, I was her research assistant. Cutie Mark Crusader research assistant, yay! Though, truth be told, I was more of a research specimen. Not that I particularly minded. No other specimen in all of Equestria was given a hefty allowance, and are allowed to come and go from the castle as they pleased. Oh, and get to be the close friends of the princesses, so really, I can't complain.
Yes, Professor Princess?
I can't help but laugh as I enter the lab. That earned a playful scowl from Twilight. I'm not interrupting your work, am I? Twilight asked. Had she interrupted my work? No, not really. I've been idly playing around with some of Twilight's lasers. I've been reading about Tom Fool's experiment on the wave nature of light. I've been also wondering what ideas Scootaloo and Applebloom might come up with if they had access to the lasers I was using. So, nothing important.
Actually, I was in the middle of something important. I was working on a new thought experiment. I thought it might show some promising insights into the chaos theory.
Twilight's eyes lit up. Ooh, a new thought experiment?
Scanning. Pony identified. Twilight Sparkle. Princess. Distinguished Professor of Royal Canterlot University. Element of Magic. Savior of Equestria. Twilight Sparkle is dancing around me like an excited school filly.
Really? What is it? You have to tell me.
Oh, Twilight, you make this so easy. I was contemplating the application of lasers, and what potential benefits it could have to our old Cutie Mark Crusader quests.
I casually lift a hoof to inspect it, nonchalance at its finest. My thought experiment had the desired effect. Twilight's ears flick about, her eyes twitch, and that nervous tick appears. I laugh at the things I can't see that most ponies can't. A minor jump in temperature, a mere 0.8 degrees Celsius, increased heart rate to 56 beats per minute, respiration now averaging 32 breaths per minute.
Inspecting body. Tick frequency increasing, heart rate escalating, temperature rising 47.92 degrees. Oh, Buck! Twilight's going critical!
I look nervously around the very expensive, very fragile, very flammable equipment around us. Time to insert some control rods.
Ha ha ha. It was just a joke, Twilight. Just a joke. Core temperature dropping, ticks subsiding, breath and heart rate returning to normal levels. Scowl on face. Thanks, Celestia.
Sweetie Belle! Twilight shouted over my laughter. You should never joke about that. I can't help but continue to laugh at the expression on Twilight's face. Never, she whispers under her breath. Twilight shook her head with a wry smile. If you're done joking around, I was hoping we can do a little more diagnostics today.
Let me guess, you want to cut my hair again?
I can't help but laugh. In a nanosecond, I adjust my vocal synthesizer to mimic my sister's voice.
Well, I expect an elegant coiffure, one befitting a lady.
I flick my mane for effect.
A coiffure for science.
Twilight finally joined in the laughter. Once the giggles had subsided, Twilight continued. No, Sweetie Belle. I have a little surprise for you. Please, follow me. Twilight led me towards her special lab, the secret lab, the lab that no pony, not myself, not even Luna or Celestia, were allowed to enter. The three of us had joked about what Twilight might have been hiding in there, Princess Luna and I had a bet going to what was in there. I thought it was some kind of revolutionary power source. Princess Luna is convinced it's a secret lover. If I won, Luna would name the next comet after me. If she won, I had to fess up the details of my failed date with Spike. Princess Celestia had opted to stay out of the bet.
Please don't be a secret lover.
I was not prepared for what I saw. I really hoped I didn't have to share the story of my failed date with Luna. Because if I did, what I was seeing now would give me so much more to talk about with Dr. Calvin.
Is that... me?
I had to ask. Oh no, of course not. Twilight giggled. Well, I had based her design pretty much entirely on yours. It was frustrating, let me tell you. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't actually improve on your function. It's been infuriating. I looked over at the machine in front of me. We had the same glowing green eyes, the same hydraulics in her legs, the same white casing across her barrel and flank, same horn-shaped antenna. Of course, I was wearing my synthetic skin right now, and she is naked. Well, more naked than most other ponies at the very least. But, notably enough, she was an exact replica of me.
Twilight?
Part of me registers the saline lubricates building in my optic sockets.
Are you... replacing me? Did I do something wrong? Wasn't that good enough?
Oh, no. Panic spreads across Twilight's face. No, Sweetiebot, no! I'm not replacing you. Twilight's expression fell. We all know I won't always be around. Even alicorns don't live forever. We have no way of knowing how long you will live. I think so as long as the sun continues to shine. Well, I don't want you to be alone. She turned towards the robotic filly on the table. I won't always be here. Celestia, Luna, none of us are eternal. I could never replace you. Twilight pulled me into a gentle hug. Never! You're my friend, and my #1 assistant.
Only because your last #1 assistant got too grabby with those synthesized crystals you were working on.
This allows both of us to laugh.
Ha 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 ha. Are you sure you're not trying to replace me?
Never! Twilight let go of the hug and moved back into the serious scientist mode. I've not been able to change the coloring of the synthetic skin. White seems to be the only color that doesn't break down the self-reparative functionality. So, once again, I had to copy yours. Twilight huffed as she looked towards the vexing cover. So, are you ready? Twilight looked at me with a warming smile. Ready to meet your new sister? Twilight touched her horn to the forehead of the robot. Small clicks and whirs, flashing LEDs, and she was on. My new little sister.
Hi, my name's Sweetiebot.
I introduced myself to the newly awoken filly.
Hi, my name's Sweetiebot.
The filly answered. As a synthetic intelligence, I should not subject to the same temporal lobe epilepsy that causes deja vu, but, bright green eyes, something stirs deep within old memories. Were they green? No, weren't they pale magenta? Something's not right, Twilight mused, chewing on her lip. She shouldn't be using a name until we assigned her one. But you already have. Princess Celestia giggled as she walked through the doors, accompanied by Princess Luna. Celestia lifted the robotic foal into her forearms and cradled her. Hello, sweetie Belle. It's good to meet you. She cooed as she slipped the newborn foal into the synthetic skin. Are you ready to meet your new family, little one? Magnum and Pearl will make great parents, and I know Rarity will love your cooking. Celestia disappeared in a flash of bright magic. Princess Luna laughed, levitating a small, colorful box to the now vacated table. But, what? Twilight had started to twitch again. Elevated heart rate, rapid breathing, core temperature rising. I backed away from my friend and moved towards the table, eyeing a small decorated box, bearing the label of Sugar Cube Corner. Celestia reappeared next to me. Happy birthday, Sweetie Belle. Now, who would like a slice of birthday cake? How? Twilight Sparkle seethed as Celestia, Luna, and I ate the cake. Banana cream, one of Celestia's favorites. How lovely is this cake? Celestia asked, turning to her sister. Magenta eyes, her eyes. Those old memories stir. Quite lovely, Luna agreed. Where did you put my robot? I flinched as Twilight screamed, both in shock at her volume and a little hurt at being reduced to Sunpony's robot. Celestia raised an eyebrow and pointed directly at me. Why, she's right there. I thought it was pretty obvious, actually. Yes, we found it perfectly. Understandably, Luna agreed. Unconvincingly, I would have challenged her to a game of poker later. Well, she is here now, but I gave her to Pearl and Magnum about 132 years ago, Celestia explained. What? You don't think you're the only pony who ever meddled with time travel, do you, Twilight? Twilight, Luna, and myself spun around, looking in shock, as Celestia stepped through the doorway, in complete disregard of the Celestia still sitting at the table. Celestia, the new Celestia, as my neural network labeled her, sat next to the old Celestia. I made a mental note to never mention either Celestia. One of them was designated as old, and levitated a plate of cake. You see, my faithful student. Oh, how long has it been since I was able to say that? Old Celestia asked. Luna and Twilight both sat, rather dumbfounded, their cakes forgotten. Far too long, new Celestia replied. You see, you always were Sweetiebot's creator. You just were a little late, so We, new Celestia interrupted. Sorry, we had to tweak time a little to fix that. Ideas, improvements, notes! Twilight jumped up from her seat and screamed. Spike! Wait, no. Sweetiebot, where's my checklist? Ah, yes, that would be the temporal paradox you're no longer under the threat of. New Celestia chuckled as old Celestia finished off her slice of cake. If you'll excuse me, I have somewhere to be. I'll see you all soon. Old Celestia lit up her horn and disappeared. And I believe it is time for me to depart too, the only Celestia said, wiping her mouth with a napkin. I have things to do, places not to be. With another flash of her horn, Celestia was gone. Twilight was furiously writing notes down on a scrap of parchment, the quill nearly on fire. She ate my cake. Luna sniffed as she looked down her empty plate. Wait! Twilight exclaimed, dropping her quill and spilling ink across the page. So that's how she's always beating me at chess! The end. Hello, Pony. Snogwritts here. Hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, be sure to leave a like. And, if you haven't already, subscribe for readings like this one every Saturday. Alright, that's it for me. This is Snogwritts, signing out.